Welcome to tonight's sleep story, where you'll be gently guided through the mythic world of Hades, Lord of the Underworld. Immerse yourself in the ancient tale of how Hades came to rule his shadowy realm, a journey marked by maintaining balance in the cosmos and discovering deep companionship with Persephone. Let your mind drift peacefully as we explore the origins and adventures of Hades and his divine family, softly unfolding in the realm of myth. Settle in and rest as the tale begins. In the vast and timeless expanse of the cosmos, where the fate of gods was entwined with the fabric of the universe, there lived a titan named Kronos. As the ruler of the cosmos, Kronos was burdened by a chilling prophecy, a warning that one of his own children would rise to overthrow him. Paranoia eclipsed reason, and fear seeded his heart, prompting actions that would ripple through eternity. Thus, when each of his children was born, Kronos resolved to guarantee his reign by consuming them one by one. The eldest, Hestia, was swallowed as soon as she took her first breath, followed in tragic succession by Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. Each child, a potential bearer of Kronos' downfall, disappeared into the cavernous depths of his being, leaving only echoes of innocence lost. Yet, within this darkness emerged a glimmer of hope through Rhea, Kronos' wife and the mother of these imprisoned gods. Heartache gnawed at her spirit, driving her to seek counsel beyond the mundane. She could not bear the thought of losing every child to the void created by her husband's consuming greed. As fate would have it, her resolve found shelter in the wise embrace of Gaia, the earth goddess, who offered a plan crafted in secrecy, a plan to conceal her youngest, Zeus, from the devouring fate that had befallen his siblings. Thus, when Zeus came into the world, Rhea wrapped a stone in swaddling clothes, presenting it to Kronos, with tears veiling her true intention. The great Titan, ensnared by his own hubris, accepted the grand illusion, forever ignorant of the infant's escape. In the sanctuary of Crete, Zeus was hidden, cherished away from the gnawing gaze of Kronos. Under the nurturing care of nymphs, he grew with abandon, far from the shadows of doubt and fear. Time unfurled its wings, and with it, Zeus matured, his mind sharpened like Olympus' peaks, his spirit kindled by the stories of his lost siblings. The absence and silence of his family left a yearning for justice, a drumbeat within his heart that refused to quiet. Zeus had grown formidable, not merely in strength, but in the wisdom that only divine lineage could bestow. The whispers of destiny beckoned him to bring light to the oppressive darkness cast by Kronos. As his power matured, Zeus devised a plan to rescue his siblings, one woven with patience and understanding of the ancient Titan who stood against him. Gifted and counseled by Metis, the goddess of wisdom, Zeus crafted a potion, a concoction powerful enough to compel Kronos to surrender his encrusted throne of deceit. This potion was not merely a mixture of elements. It held the essence of justice and the fervent longing of a brother's love. Armed with resolve, cloaked in the assurance of prophecy, Zeus set forth to confront Kronos and fulfill the destiny that echoed through the corridors of time. The confrontation that awaited on Mount Olympus under an orange and amber sky was both personal and cosmic, a duel between progeny and progenitor. As the evening's soft whispers cloaked the peaks, Zeus stepped into the presence of Kronos, wielding not weapons of war, but the quiet certitude of his task. With a calm command, he offered the potion, and Kronos, blind to the true threat, unwittingly ingested it. The act was swift, yet bore the gravity of an ancient prophecy being fulfilled. Under the firmament's vivid hues, Kronos was stricken with the potion's might, his once ironclad control unraveling. Pain clutched him, and terror clawed at his formidable fade. With each heave, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon journeyed forth from the abyss of their father's greed, free at last from the confines of Kronos' folly. One by one they emerged, eyes blinking at newfound freedom and the sight of the brother who had brought light to their darkness. Once scattered and swallowed in premonitory dread, the siblings now gathered, forming an alliance forged in the fires of gratitude and shared trials. Their reunion was not merely of bodies, but of spirits kindled by mutual longing for a world reborn. Zeus stood as the architect of this liberation, the herald of a new epoch. However, their victory was but the first stride towards a grander destiny, which loomed like the peaks of Olympus far above them. With a firm resolve echoing across the mountaintops, they were united in purpose, ready to carve a new order out of chaos. Their eyes, symbolizing both vulnerability and divine power, shimmered with determination, for their legacy lay ahead, waiting to be claimed. The tale of these siblings, once a myth whispered among gods, was now set into motion like a great tide primed to shape the shores of existence. The echoes of freedom still lingered in the air as Zeus gathered his siblings atop Mount Olympus. The mountain stood as a steadfast witness to the events that would shape their immortal fates. With Kronos vanquished but not yet defeated, a greater battle loomed on the horizon. Zeus, with an air of determination, called upon Hades, Poseidon, and their sisters Hestia, Demeter, and Hera. The time had come to reclaim what was owed and establish their rightful dominion. As they stood together, unified in purpose, they knew they were poised to face the grand conflict known as Titanomachy. Zeus, the decisive leader, took charge, strategizing alongside Hades and Poseidon. A calm intensity permeated their deliberations as they planned their impending confrontation with the Titans who still held power over the cosmos. Hades, with his innate sense for strategy, suggested utilizing the element of surprise, while Poseidon considered deploying the sea's fury as a distracting force. Zeus, commanding yet attentive, listened as each sibling's strengths were woven into a greater tapestry of battle. The plan formed with clarity, their resolve solidified by the knowledge that together they would surmount the challenge. The Titans, led by the formidable Kronos, were a relentless force. The first encounters were fierce, the sky alight with divine fury and the ground trembling from the Titans' formidable might. As the battles unfolded across the span of time, Hades slipped silently into action. With his helm of invisibility, a gift from the Earth Mother, Gaia, Hades became an unseen specter among the Titans, striking with precision and stealth. The Titans, unaware of his presence, found themselves ambushed at unexpected moments, the shadows working against them in Hades' favor. Poseidon, not to be outdone, harnessed the primal power of the oceans. Mighty waves rose at his command, cascading storms across the battlefield. His intention was not merely to submerge his adversaries, but to create chaos within their ranks. The flashes of silvery water against the fiery horizon lent a surreal edge to the clash between gods and titans. Each tidal surge and tremor was a reminder of the siblings' shared resolve, and Poseidon reveled in turning the sea into a stage for warfare. Amidst the elemental tumult, Zeus descended with the sky's dominion at his fingertips. Lightning danced along his arms, the ethereal weapon scorching the heavens before slicing through the Titans' defenses. Each strike was deliberate, altering the rhythm of battle toward chaos then, gradually, order. Zeus's storms became a beacon of divine power, emboldening his siblings to advance further against their ancient adversaries. Though the war raged tirelessly, with neither side conceding, a duality of existence hung in the balance. As the gods endured the tangled conflict, a decade passed like a shadow slipping through light. Time blurred in the relentless struggle, with victory a seemingly distant reality. The clash saw both gods and titans standing in stalemate, the scales of power refusing to tip. Unwavering, each sibling remained steadfast, the embers of endurance and hope flickering brightly amongst them. In this enduring deadlock, Gaia, Earth's primordial force, reached out with wise counsel. Her voice, as ancient as the stones, led the gods to consider a new path. Gaia reminded them of the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, the hundred-handed giants imprisoned long ago. These forgotten allies, she urged, held the key to tilting the battle in their favor. The siblings reached a consensus, seeing the wisdom in her words. Following Gaia's sage guidance, the gods set forth to liberate these powerful beings. The earth trembled with anticipation as chains were broken, and the Cyclopes emerged into the light once more. In gratitude, these masterful smiths bestowed upon the gods gifts of immense power. Zeus received a thunderbolt that shimmered with the brilliance of the heavens. Poseidon, a trident that surged with the ocean's boundless energy, and Hades continuing to don his mysterious helm of Thor. Invisibility gained affirmation of his role as an unseen yet formidable force. Armed with these powerful tools, the deities felt the stirrings of a turning tide. The Titanomachy, a seemingly eternal struggle, now wore the colors of impending resolution. Each sibling, armed with the Cyclopes' gifts, poised themselves for the dawn of a new reign, bearing not just the strength of their primal origins, but the resilience nurtured through shared struggle. The battlefield lay in a tumultuous pause, a moment of deep breath before the inevitable rush forward. Armed with newly acquired strength, the deities looked toward the unfolding horizon with calm determination. Their resolve bolstered by the gifts of ancient allies, they prepared to end the conflict once and for all. With unity guiding their steps, the siblings, now more than ever, saw the dawn of a new world etched in the skies above. The war between the gods and the Titans raged on, a tumultuous clash that echoed across the heavens and earth. With powerful weapons bestowed upon them by the Cyclopes, the gods prepared to deliver a decisive attack. Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon stood united in their resolve, each armed with a symbol of new power, the thunderbolt, the trident, and the helm of invisibility, respectively. As dusk settled over the battlefield, a deep calm filled the air, signaling the turning point of the war. Hades, ever the strategist, donned his cloak of invisibility to infiltrate the Titan's strongholds. Moving silently and unseen, he disrupted communications and struck key targets, his mere presence sowing confusion and fear among the enemy. In the shadows, his actions unraveled the Titan's plans, tipping the scale in favor of the gods. His mastery of the unseen gave him an edge that posed a persistent threat to the Titan's defenses. Meanwhile, Poseidon wielded his trident with devastating effect. By calling upon the might of the seas, he unleashed massive floods that swept across the land, cornering the Titans and cutting off their escape routes. The waters surged with overwhelming force, a testament to Poseidon's dominion over the seas. As the Titans grappled with the impending deluge, the gods seized the moment to close in on their adversaries. High above, Zeus observed the battlefield from his vantage point. With precision and authority, he hurled thunderbolts upon the key Titans, each strike a testament to his command over the heavens. The sky blazed with fiery arcs of lightning, illuminating the dusk with their brilliance. Underneath this celestial assault, the Titans found themselves scrambling, unable to withstand the unrelenting power of Zeus's might. The Hecatoncheires, monstrous beings with 50 heads and 100 arms, joined the fray, their presence unleashing chaos upon the Titans. Their sheer strength and numbers overwhelmed the Titans' defenses, shifting the momentum further towards the gods' favor. The battlefield swarmed with a whirlwind of activity, as the Hecatoncheires spared no effort in dismantling their foes. At the heart of this cataclysmic struggle stood Kronos, the formidable leader of the Titans. Once deposed of his power, he fought valiantly to reclaim it, Yet the tides had irrevocably changed. With united strength, Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon confronted Kronos, combining their powers to seal his fate. The thunder of Zeus, the waters of Poseidon, and the shadows of Hades came together in a magnificent display, marking the end of the Titanomachy. As the dust of battle settled, victory was securely in the grasp of the gods. With the Titans defeated, it was time to usher in a new era, one defined by the dominion of the Olympian gods. The three brothers, Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, stood upon a mountaintop, looking over the tranquil remains of the once chaotic battlefield. It was here that they contemplated their next steps in shaping the cosmos. It was decided that the realms of existence would be divided among the three, a decision that would define the structure of the world. To ensure fairness, lots were drawn to determine each brother's domain. As fate would have it, Zeus was granted the skies, domain of storms and sunlight, where he would reign supreme amongst the clouds. Poseidon claimed the vast seas, to be forever linked with the rolling tides and the mysteries beneath the waves. For Hades, the lot fell to the Underworld, a realm shrouded in darkness yet essential to the balance of life and death. Despite its somber nature, Hades understood the gravity and responsibility of his new role. It would be his charge to govern the souls of the deceased, maintaining the equilibrium between worlds. As dusk deepened, a sense of calm and purpose suffused the air. The era of Titan dominance had ended, and the brothers embraced the new order with a solemn unity. Their decision marked the beginning of a new chapter in the mythic world, where realms now aligned to the will of the gods. Though each brother would govern independently, their shared victory and mutual respect remained a bond as steadfast as the mountains beneath their feet. With realms divided, Hades felt the weight and promise of his new domain calling to him, as he prepared to descend into the underworld and begin his eternal reign. With a decisive battle behind him, Hades departed the heights of Olympus, feeling the weight of the mantle that had been placed upon him. His realm lay below, vast and shadowed, untouched and waiting for his guidance. As he descended into the depths of the earth, the vibrant chaos of the sky and sea above seemed like faint memories, their clamor fading into a gentle hum. The underworld awaited its new sovereign, cloaked in an eternal twilight, where light and shadow danced softly upon the cavernous walls. Upon stepping into this hidden world, Hades found it a tapestry woven from shades of gray and black, where rivers whispered secrets and winds carried the echoes of the past. This realm stretched endlessly with mysteries concealed in its shadows. Hades wandered through this land with solemn steps, the enormity of his responsibility settling upon him. It was here that he would establish his dominion, creating a refuge for souls long departed from the mortal coil. At its center he erected a grand throne, adorned with intricate carvings that spoke of the stories yet to unfold. It was upon this throne that Hades would sit in judgment, his dark yet fair seat, a testament to the gravity of his role. The throne room, with its echo of the eternal, was shrouded in the calm and ordered darkness befitting the lord of this domain. A sense of majesty draped over the hall, even as no bright light penetrated its solemn grandeur. As Hades settled into his throne, he was met by two steadfast sentinels of this shadowy realm. First appeared Charon, the ferryman, who navigated the river Styx. Silent and unwavering, Charon was as much a part of this world as the rivers that ran through it. Hades acknowledged his presence with a nod, for Charon would be his loyal aid in guiding the countless souls destined to cross these waters. Next, from the shadows emerged Cerberus, his loyal three-headed hound, who greeted him with a silent understanding. The great watchdog symbolized the boundary between this world and the living, a fierce guardian ensuring that none crossed the borders unbidden. Both Charon and Cerberus, archetypes of order and stability, were crucial to the harmony that Hades sought to cultivate here. Taking firm hold of his duties, Hades began crafting the laws by which the souls would reside in his domain. Each edict was carefully considered, designed to reflect the fairness and impartiality that characterized his rule. As souls steadily crossed the Styx, it was Hades who decided their fate, ensuring that each received justice reflective of their mortal deeds. No soul was condemned without cause, and none received undue favor. In this place of shadows, a semblance of order was maintained, echoing the timeless rhythm of the cosmos. Justice was meted out not with the fire and thunder of Olympus, but with quiet precision and unwavering balance. The underworld was a sanctuary from the chaos above, a place where souls found rest and judgment in equal measure. Hades took pride in this serene order, his kingdom a reflection of the balance he so cherished. At the heart of this world lay the river Styx, its waters a symbol of the eternal rule Hades had assumed. This river, flanked by whispering reeds, was more than a mere boundary. It was an oath, a promise to the souls it carried and the world it separated. To cross its waters was to transition from life to afterlife, an experience marked by reverence and inevitability. In the silence that followed, Hades contemplated his new existence. Here, in the underworld, he was both ruler and guardian, burdened with the solitude of his role. Yet within these shadows, he found an odd sense of belonging that he hadn't known in the towering halls of Olympus. It was a solitude yet to be shared, a kingdom yet to be fully realized. As he settled into the rhythm of this eternal twilight, Hades considered the enormity of his task and the legacy he was to build. Ahead lay many decisions, many judgments to render, and perhaps companionship to share in this vast domain. Shadows whispered in their native tongue, calling for balance, fairness, and a guiding hand to steer them gently through eternity. In this quiet expanse, Hades found the tranquility necessary to fulfill his purpose. As the lord and custodian of the souls he would dutifully guide, Hades, now firmly established as the lord of the underworld, embarks on a journey to explore his vast domain. Leaving his dark throne behind, he ventures into the various regions that make up this mysterious and shadowy realm. His intent is to understand each corner of the underworld, to ensure that everything runs smoothly under his quiet yet firm rule. As he traverses the expanse of his kingdom, Hades encounters the Erinyes, the feared deities of vengeance. They are tasked with enforcing punishments on those souls who had committed grievous wrongs in life. The Erinyes, with their relentless pursuit of justice, are crucial to maintaining the equilibrium Hades seeks. In their presence, Hades observes the delicate balance between retribution and fairness, ensuring that no soul receives more or less than they are due. Continuing his journey, Hades arrives at the Elysian Fields, a serene area set aside for the souls of the virtuous and heroic. Here, the atmosphere is calm and rewarding, a stark contrast to the rest of the underworld. The souls that dwell in this paradise enjoy a peaceful eternity, basking in the rewards of their virtuous past lives. Hades sees to it that the tranquility of this place remains undisturbed, a testament to his commitment to justice and balance. Hades then makes his way to the Asphodel Meadows, where the vastness of his realm truly reveals itself. This is the resting place for the souls who led neither wicked nor particularly heroic lives, spending eternity in a state of neutrality. As he walks through the meadows, the endless fields mirror the quiet expanse of the underworld itself. Hades ensures that these souls, who dwell neither in pleasure nor pain, are treated with fairness and impartiality. Descending further into the depths of his domain, Hades reaches Tartarus, the foreboding prison of the Titans who had opposed him during the Great War, as well as other souls deemed as severe wrongdoers. Here lies the punishment for the Titans like Kronos, a dire warning to all who would dare defy the natural order. The severe punishments meted out here serve as another pillar upholding the justice that Hades is devoted to maintaining in his realm. Through his travels, Hades comes to understand the complexity of his domain's disparate regions. He recognizes that maintaining order in the underworld requires both sternness and empathy. Each of these realms, from the bliss of the Elysian fields to the depths of Tartarus, reflects a facet of his leadership. He is a ruler committed to ensuring that every soul receives its deserved fate, a task that requires constant vigilance and fairness. In his reflective roamings, a seed of longing begins to grow within Hades. The underworld, though vast and dutifully ordered, is a place devoid of companionship for the solitary ruler. His encounters with the various inhabitants only underline the absence of personal connection in his eternal existence. He senses a gap in his otherwise structured world, a need for companionship that could transform this solitude into a shared responsibility. Returning to the central rocky outcropping, Hades stands, gazing out over the fields of the underworld. The expanses stretch before him, veering into the shadowy distances beyond his throne. There, with the meadows basking in the eternal twilight and the regions of his kingdom unfolding like an intricate tapestry, Hades contemplates his role as guardian of these souls. He knows that his duty encompasses not only the rites of judgment and punishment, but also the quiet, enduring relationship he has with each part of his realm. As he surveys his kingdom, a subtle understanding dawns on him. This domain, though formidable and demanding, has become a part of him. Every river that runs through it, every meadow that breathes its essence, and every shadow that stretches across its expanses is under his careful watch. Yet, as the embodiment of balance, Hades feels a stirring, a need to balance his own existence with a companionship that echoes through the timelessness of his realm. In the eternal tranquility of the underworld, Hades reigned alone, maintaining balance over the realm of souls. Despite the solemn beauty and order he had cultivated, an echo of solitude lingered in his heart. His thoughts would often wander to the world above, where life burst forth in vibrant colors and melodies. Among these musings, a singular figure began to capture his attention: Persephone, the radiant daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the harvest. Her presence on earth resonated through the cosmos, and for Hades, her essence was a glimpse of warmth in his otherwise shadowy domain. Persephone, with her innocent charm and curiosity, traversed the blooming fields of the mortal world. She moved with grace among the meadows of spring, her fingers grazing the tops of flowers that swayed in the gentle breeze. Unbeknownst to her, Hades watched from the shadows, his heart swayed by her spirited demeanor. The world above seemed to respond to her touch, erupting into life wherever she wandered. Yet even amid such vibrancy, Persephone felt a subtle call, an invisible thread tugging at her heart, drawing her towards the unknown. Yielding to his longing, Hades resolved to bring Persephone to the underworld, where he could offer her a part in the vastness of his realm, and, perhaps, a share in his solitude. One bright day, as the sun bathed the world in its golden hues, Persephone wandered further into the meadow, her laughter like an echo of joy in the warm air. As she reached for a particularly striking bloom, the ground beneath her feet began to tremble softly. Without warning, the earth parted in a gentle yet mighty motion. From its depths emerged Hades, adorned with the shadows of his unseen world, riding his chariot drawn by dark horses. He swept across the meadow with deliberate intent, his eyes fixed upon the startled maiden. In a fluid motion, he reached out and lifted Persephone onto his chariot, her flowers falling from her grasp like drops of rain. Witnessing this from afar was Demeter, who, in her heart, knew instantly of her daughter's fate. Her cries of anguish echoed across the hills as the ground closed, leaving no trace of the chariot's passage. Consumed with fear and despair, Demeter roamed the earth in search of her beloved Persephone. Her grief was profound, the joy and warmth of the fields withering under her sorrow. As spring's vibrancy faded, a barren chill settled over the land. In the underworld, Persephone found herself in a realm unlike any she had imagined. The air was thick with echoes of whispers, and shadows danced across the walls of Hades' domain. Here, the souls of the deceased found their places of rest, yet for Persephone, there was an awakening. Hades, though a figure of mystery and power, treated her with great reverence, acknowledging the divine spark within her. He offered her a place beside him, hoping she might find solace in this vast, shadowed kingdom. Back on Earth, Demeter's mourning plunged the world into desolation. The crops failed, and the once green fields turned a lifeless gray. Her grief seeped into the very fabric of nature, causing a deep imbalance. As she searched for Persephone, her heartache became a burden too heavy for the earth to bear. The seasons stalled, and life itself seemed to pause, waiting on the return of the goddess of spring. The absence of Persephone in the world above, and her presence in the underworld, set off a chain reaction of celestial dynamics and earthly despair. Hades and Persephone, each in their own way, began to reshape the environment of the underworld, introducing new realms of coexistence and mutual understanding. Hades, for the first time, felt the stirrings of hope, a hope that in Persephone's companionship, the shadows of his loneliness might finally be chased away. As Demeter's quest continued with untiring fervor, the earth's barrenness and her relentless seeking drew attention from the heavens above. A resolution was needed, for balance must be restored among the realms. The longing in Hades' heart and Demeter's profound sorrow intertwined, setting the stage for divine intervention that would ensure that neither love nor the rhythm of the earth would remain and mourn. In perpetual silence, after Persephone vanished into the depths of the underworld, her mother, Demeter, roamed the world in a relentless search for her lost daughter. Disguised in a humble cloak, she traversed both the mortal landscapes and divine realms, leaving no stone unturned. Her journey was fraught with sorrow, each step echoing her despair as she sought clues to Persephone's whereabouts. Days turned to weeks, and weeks into months, yet Demeter's resolve did not falter. She tirelessly moved through desolate fields and verdant valleys, her presence a shadow that passed unnoticed by those suffering the earth's increasingly barren state. In her quest, Demeter encountered gods and mortals alike, all the while concealing her divine nature. She visited the nymphs and river gods, seeking any sign of her daughter's presence. Although sympathetic, none could provide the answers she sought. Each encounter brought a flicker of hope, often extinguished by the reality of uncertainty and ignorance. Her desperation grew alongside her grief, unraveling the delicate balance of life on Earth. As Demeter's sorrow deepened, its repercussions manifested in the world around her. The lush fields, once vibrant and verdant, began to wither under the weight of her despair. Flowers that previously turned their faces to the sun now bowed their heads, and the harvests, once bountiful, dwindled to nearly nothing. The seasons themselves responded to Demeter's anguish, ushering in a premature winter across the lands. The once warm embrace of the earth became cold and unyielding, mirroring the emptiness she felt without her cherished daughter. Her travels brought her to the humble town of Eleusis, where she disguised herself as a withered old woman, weary from her seemingly endless journey. The people of Eleusis, moved by her plight, offered her shelter and kindness, providing a brief respite from her relentless search. Seeing the compassion of mortals and the simplicity of their lives helped momentarily ease her burden, offering a flicker of solace in her darkest hours. During her time in Eleusis, Demeter slowly revealed her divine nature to the townspeople, bestowing upon them the sacred rites that would become the Eleusinian mysteries. In gratitude for their hospitality, she shared her vast knowledge of agriculture, teaching them how to cultivate the land even in times of hardship. Yet, While the people prospered from these gifts, Demeter's heart remained heavy with sorrow and longing. Despite the knowledge shared with Eleusis, the rest of the world continued to suffer under the grip of widespread famine. The once fertile lands that fed civilizations now lay fallow, unable to yield sustenance for the hungry masses. Rivers ran weak and shallow, the life-giving waters barely a trickle compared to their former abundance. Humanity's dependence on the earth became painfully clear, as their very survival hung in the balance under Demeter's grieving shadow. Amidst this despair, the echoes of Demeter's lament reached Olympus, carried by the breath of the wind and the whispers of the dying earth. Mounting pressure from both gods and mortals grew, as they realized the severity of the crisis induced by Demeter's perpetual sorrow. The absence of her daughter had unbalanced the world, calling for a resolution that only the divine could provide. Thus, the stage was set for divine intervention. Zeus, ever observant of the unfolding events, knew that action must be taken to restore harmony between the heavens, earth, and the underworld. As the bonds of kinship tugged at his heart, Zeus contemplated how best to address the chasm left by Persephone's departure. The time had come for decisions to be made, marking the beginning of negotiations that would shape the future of gods and mortals alike. With Demeter's unending grief casting a pall over the world, the urgency for a solution became paramount. Through clouds and shadows, the gods gathered to discuss ways to reconcile the competing forces of love, duty, and nature. The balance of life and death, once disturbed by Persephone's absence, awaited the promise of restored equilibrium, heralding the hope of renewal as Demeter's search for her daughter reached a critical juncture. Amidst the barren fields of the earth, where once rich harvests flourished under Demeter's care, all lay desolate. Her sorrow at the absence of Persephone turned the lush landscapes to lifeless expanses, as if the world itself mourned. The cries of the hungry resonated up to the heavens, drawing the attention of the gods. It was Zeus, the all-seeing king of Olympus, who recognized the gravity of the situation. The earth could not be left to wither. Balance had to be restored. To address the crisis, Zeus summoned a council on Olympus, a celestial gathering of divine luminaries. Under the fiery skies of the autumn season, where gold and silver intermingled with fiery red hues, they assembled in the grand halls of the celestial palace. Zeus stood at the center, the weight of leadership upon him, as he addressed his fellow deities. He spoke of the need for intervention, for inaction would prolong suffering not just for mortals, but for all of the cosmos, which thrived on balance and harmony. Understanding the severity of the situation, Zeus dispatched Hermes, the swift-footed messenger, to journey to the underworld. His mission was clear: to negotiate the return of Persephone to the world above. Hermes, with his winged sandals and golden staff, descended rapidly through the shadowy passages of the earth, crossing the river Styx to where Hades held dominion. The underworld was a realm governed by order and justice, where Hades, seated upon a dark yet fair throne, safeguarded the eternal balance of souls. On hearing Hermes' plea, Hades sat in contemplation. His reserved nature masked an inner conflict. The kinship and connection that Persephone had brought to this eternal realm were not easily relinquished. Yet he knew, deep in the sinews of his responsibility, that the greater balance must be maintained. The world above suffered its own torment under Demeter's grief, a grief that would only be alleviated by the return of her beloved daughter. Meanwhile, Persephone faced her own crossroads. The time spent in the underworld had changed her. This subterranean realm, in contrast to its initial somber allure, had become a part of her identity. The thought of leaving was bittersweet, torn between the affection she felt for Hades and the longing for the embrace of sunlit meadows that awaited her return. In moments of quiet reflection, she found herself pondering the path that lay before her, knowing it was a choice weighted by duty and desire. After careful deliberation, a compromise was struck. Persephone would divide her year between the two realms, a gracious acknowledgement of the deep bonds she held with both. At this, an agreement settled like a gentle mist over the deific assembly, bringing with it a collective sigh of relief. Hades, embodying fairness in his decision, offered Persephone a gift, a single pomegranate seed. This seemingly minor offering was a gesture not only of affection, but of eternal connection, binding her to the underworld for a portion of each year. As Hermes prepared to escort Persephone back to the surface, the pact brought a sense of anticipation and hope for resolution. The earth, having felt the profound lack of its seasonal change, awaited the return of life as Demeter and Persephone prepared to reunite. For the part of the year that Persephone remained below, winter would blanket the world, but upon her return, spring would burst forth, renewing vitality and vibrancy, thus fulfilling the cycle that held the universe in balance. With the arrangement set in motion, balance gradually began to return to the universe. The very act of divine compromise restored hope among the gods and mortals alike. As Persephone ascended from the depths, heralding the approach of blooming flowers and lush fields, the world above stirred back to life, marking the cyclical flow that Persephone's journey had solidified. As the chapter closed, a gentle serenity settled over both realms, promising a continuity underlined by wisdom and understanding. The cycle was complete, and yet it was only just beginning. A dance of seasons, emotions, and eternal bonds. With the pomegranate seeds having sealed the bond between Hades and Persephone, a new chapter in the tapestry of nature began to unfold. As Demeter watched her daughter rise from the depths of the underworld and step onto the earthly realm, a boundless joy surged through her heart. With Persephone's return, the once barren landscape transformed, blossoming anew under Demeter's nurturing gaze. The earth, as if waking from a prolonged slumber, erupted in a symphony of life, the once muted colors now vivid with renewal. Trees unfolded their leaves, flowers spread their petals, and the air pulsed with the melodies of birds returning to the vibrant fields, signaling the arrival of spring. The reunion was heartfelt and joyous, a time when Demeter and Persephone walked the sunlit world, their bond rekindled and stronger than ever. Together they wandered through fields ripe with promise, sharing laughter and stories under the boundless sky. Mortals beheld the gleaming presence of Persephone with awe, offering tributes of fresh blooms and ripe fruits in gratitude for the earth's revived bounty. This time of growth was not only a testament to the renewal of life, but also a reflection of the enduring love between mother and daughter, mirrored by the blooming landscapes they graced with their presence. As the sun continued its journey across the sky, the days warmed with tender sunlight, and the vigor of life flourished in every corner of the land. Demeter's heart, once heavy with sorrow, now brimmed with contentment as she watched Persephone tread the sun-dappled paths of the earth. These months of closeness on the vibrant surface brought a gentle rhythm to life, their shared time allowing for a deeper understanding and appreciation of each other's realms. Yet, as the days grew shorter and a subtle chill began to weave through the evening air, an inevitable shift approached. The earth, having soaked in the sun's warmth, began to slow its vibrant dance. Persephone, aware of her duty to both her mother and her husband, knew the time to descend back to the underworld was near. The cycle urged her forward, a gentle reminder of her role in maintaining balance between life above and the stillness below. With autumn's golden hues creeping across the fields, Persephone bid her farewells, her steps lingering on the lush terrain she must leave behind. Though tinged with melancholy, these partings were softened by the understanding of their cyclical eventuality, a promise that, come another spring, she would return to the embrace of the living world. Her mother, Demeter, though teary-eyed, accepted the necessity of this dual residency, aware of the greater equilibrium it ensured. As Persephone embarked on her return journey to the underworld, she touched the earth one last time, sending a wave of warmth and reassurance across the land. Her presence slipped beneath the surface, and with it, the vibrant greens and vibrant blooms began to retreat, making way for the calm and introspective season of winter. The mortals, having understood this grand cycle, prepared themselves for the quieter months, secure in the knowledge that life would once again emerge with her return. This recurring journey became the heart of the natural order, an eternal dance marking the passage of time. Persephone's presence heralded the onset of life and abundance. Her departure signaled a return to repose and reflection. It was a reminder to all, mortals and gods alike, that while separations were temporary, the emotional bonds endured through time. The world settled into the rhythm of the seasons, a testament to the divine compromise forged on Olympus. With Persephone's cycle now woven into the very fabric of existence, the natural and the divine found harmony. The fields, once resigned to desolation, now awaited the promise of spring with newfound certainty. And as generations passed, the tale of Persephone's journey became a cornerstone of the mythological understanding of the rhythmic dance between life and the underworld. As the seasons turned above and Persephone took her place once again as queen of the underworld, Hades resumed his duties within the shadowy realm under his care. His presence was a constant in the underworld's landscape, a figure marked by stoic composure and unwavering commitment to maintaining the balance of souls. Each arrival to this spectral place was met with the fair, unyielding gaze of its ruler, who ensured that justice ran as deep as the river Styx. Hades maintained a solemn routine, one that required interactions with the souls and the judges who presided over their fates. Rhadamanthus, Aeacus, and Minos, the three esteemed judges of the dead, processed each soul's deeds from their mortal life. Once the judges decreed a soul's pathway, Hades verified that this judgment aligned with divine law, underscoring his duty to uphold fairness. This role demanded not only wisdom, but also an understanding of the complexities of human nature, knowledge Hades had gathered over many eras. He ensured that no soul bore a fate undeserved, emphasizing equity as his guiding principle. Rumors and stories circulated even within the underworld, where the passage of notable souls was sometimes the only event that might cause a ripple. Such was the case with Orpheus and Eurydice, a tale that reached Hades's domain with quiet whispers of love that transcended life itself. Orpheus, the gifted musician, had descended into the depths to retrieve his beloved Eurydice, and his melodies resonated through the cavernous halls of the dead. The beauty of his music, echoing through the chambers, compelled an unusual encounter with the Lord of the Underworld. Hades, moved by the harmony and plea within Orpheus's song, allowed the musician his request to retrieve his companion. However, a condition was set. Orpheus must not look back at Eurydice until they both reached the realm of the living. This merciful act highlighted Hades's capability for compassion, though the tragic outcome of the lovers' journey reaffirmed the severe consequences of doubt and disobedience. In his domain, Hades's responsibilities spanned beyond dispensing justice. He mastered the intricate web of order. Charon, the ferryman, who tirelessly rowed souls across the river Styx, operated under the watchful eye of Hades, ensuring each transaction of passage adhered to the ancient rites. Without proper fare, no soul could cross, an edict enforced both by tradition and necessity. Cerberus, the faithful three-headed guardian, stood as a living emblem of boundary and protection, ever vigilant at the underworld's entrance. The monstrous hound, loyal to Hades, served as both a protector of the domain and a sentinel to keep order among the departed. No soul ventured without the permission of its lord, and no living dared enter without facing Cerberus's gaze. The tales of Hades' guardianship in his realm spoke to a bigger truth, a perpetual state of equilibrium, where the barriers of the living and the dead were respected. Yet, within this balance, Hades's place was one of quiet authority, respected not out of fear, but for the justness he embodied. The boundaries that Hades maintained were not of isolation but of protection and duty, ensuring that each soul's journey met its appropriate end. The undercurrents of his realm were as steady as their lord's presence, an assurance to those who passed thrice washed into its depths. Hades had found an unyielding anchor in his obligations, shaping a kingdom that paralleled the world above in its disdain for chaos and reverence for order. The steady rhythm of judgment and passage, the quiet watch over countless souls, meant that the Lord of the Underworld's role was never idle. And so, the eternal twilight of the Underworld observed the silent, rhythmic toil of its master. Hades, cast in the dusky palette of his realm, stood beside the river Styx, his gaze sweeping across the flowing procession of souls. His mind held no burdens yet unsolved, no justice unmet. His realm, echoing his eternal vigilance, remained steady, a reflection of his resolute spirit, a spirit as enduring as time itself. In this hidden world beneath the earth, Hades' rule was perpetual, a stringent exercise of duty where the balance of life and death echoed through its stony halls. Even as his tasks unfurled with reliable regularity, the weight of responsibility seemed nothing more than a mantle resting comfortably upon his sturdy shoulders. His realm, reflective of his guiding hand, commanded respect and ensured that the passage between realms bore meaning and justice. Yet within this structural harmony lay the seeds of eternal connection, his bond with Persephone adding depth and nuance to his reign. As seasons changed above and Persephone's presence ebbed and flowed, the undercurrents of the underworld adapted in subtle synchronicity, a testament to their shared rule. In the quietude of the underworld, where time spun on an eternal axis, Hades's guardianship spoke of the enduring principles that governed his domain, principles that persisted, whispered through each moment of vigil. Within the shadows of the underworld, Persephone infused a breath of life that was both startling and serene. She wandered through the shadowed expanses with a gentle touch, letting her vibrant spirit transform pockets of the underworld into lush, otherworldly gardens. It was her way of bringing a semblance of the world above, a reminder of the cyclical nature of life she was bound to maintain. The gardens she cultivated were unlike any on earth, filled not with ordinary flora but with glowstones that illuminated the dark earth with a soft amber and violet glow. These ethereal lights offered a peaceful contrast to the otherwise stoic shades of the underworld, weaving harmony into a realm defined by its eternal stasis. Her presence became a beacon, drawing both admiration and respect from the spirits that roamed. Hades, ever the keeper of balance, continued to oversee the realm with a firm yet fair hand. He often welcomed supplicants, spirits who had recently arrived, seeking guidance or final words of departure. Offerings were brought forth by them, tokens of their lives now past, tributes to ease their transition into the afterlife. Through these interactions, Hades demonstrated the importance of acknowledging life's legacies, and in turn, the supplicants found solace in sharing their stories. His demeanor was reserved but compassionate. He carried his duty to weigh their deeds without prejudice. Each spirit found its place within the underworld's vast expanse, reinforcing the fairness for which Hades was famed. Among the tales of consequence was the story of Sisyphus, whose presence illustrated the severe yet just nature of divine retribution. Sisyphus, known for his cunning deceit, had attempted to cheat death itself. Hades, unmoved by the trickster's cleverness, ensured that Sisyphus's punishment was a lesson to all, a never-ending task that mirrored his own relentless treachery. Each day, Sisyphus was driven to push a massive boulder uphill, only for it to roll back each time he neared the summit, an eternal cycle without respite or completion. This served as a stark reminder that Hades's role was not merely to punish, but to maintain an unyielding order that upheld the moral structures of existence. The underworld was a realm of intricate balances, where Hades often found himself adjudicating disputes among souls. These disputes ranged from grievances carried over from mortal lives to misunderstandings born in the afterlife. In this dim world, Hades served not only as ruler but also as a mediator, striving to acknowledge the complexities of each spirit's past life. He offered judgments that were both empathetic and fair, bridging the gap between what had been and what would eternally be. It was a delicate task, one that reinforced the stability essential to the realm and reminded the souls that even in death, justice prevailed. Persephone played an essential role beside him, her heart attuned to the ebb and flow of cosmic threads that intertwined life and death. Together, they engaged in decisions that echoed throughout the cosmos, collaborating on matters that often extended beyond the scope of their shadowy domain. Whether debating the nuances of divine intervention or the fate of certain souls, their discussions highlighted the profound bond they shared. Persephone offered perspectives shaped by the light of the upper world, while Hades brought the insight of ages spent understanding the depths of human spirit. Their partnership was an eternal dance of influence, a testament to the balance they maintained between personal affinity and cosmic duty. New arrivals to the underworld posed continuous challenges, compelling both Hades and Persephone to adapt and refine the processes that governed their realm. Each soul brought with it a story and a set of nuances that required careful consideration. Hades's equitable nature extended to adapting procedures to ensure that fair treatment remained a constant amid ever-changing circumstances. This adaptability was crucial, as the underworld was not static. It was a living tapestry of histories intersecting and diverging, a testament to the nuances that defined both mortal and immortal realms. Amidst the duties and judgments, the gardens tended by Persephone remained a gentle reminder of the illuminated hope at the heart of the underworld. Their glowstones shimmered against the darkness, casting a soft, perpetual twilight where gratitude and grief intertwined seamlessly. In this serene yet harmonious atmosphere, Hades found a profound satisfaction where love and duty harmonized with one another. As ruler and partner, he experienced a quiet joy that permeated his reign, echoing through the timeless halls and whispering among the souls who recognized a fairness tempered with compassion. In the shadowy, serene realms of the underworld, the reign of Hades and Persephone had become a testament to eternal stability, their rule sculpted by mutual respect and profound dignity. As they sat upon their thrones, crowned by the soft glow of ever-burning torches, a sense of calm pervaded the air. Here, amid the serene shadows, the echoes of centuries whispered tales of both the living and the dead. Hades and Persephone, united in purpose and affection, reigned over this timeless world, crafting an order where every soul found its rightful place. Hades, with his reserved wisdom, comforted the wandering spirits, offering them visions of what might lie beyond their current state. It was this tender compassion within judgment that allowed each soul to find peace and purpose, knowing that there was empathy and fairness in the hands that judged them. No longer was the underworld solely a place of shadow and oblivion. It had transformed into a domain where dreams mingled with the realities of mortality and eternity, a realm governed by justice, tempered with kindness. Persephone, with her loving devotion to the balance of nature, ensured that seasons across the mortal world continued in their eternal dance. Her journey between realms was a testament to her dual nature as a goddess of both life and rebirth. In spring, upon her return to the world above, life burst forth in her wake, painting the earth with vibrant colors. As she descended once more to the underworld, autumn's rich tapestry heralded her absence, eventually giving way to the barren stillness of winter. This cycle, dictated by Persephone's presence, wove a fabric of continuity for all creatures, celebrating the eternal dance of life and death. Even among mortals, the story of Hades and Persephone was revered. Their tales were recited in hushed tones by the fireside, commemorated in ceremonies that praised the justness of Hades and the life-giving grace of Persephone. Festivals and rituals marked the changing seasons, honoring the delicate balance upheld by the goddess of spring and her regal consort. In the praise from the living, the immortals found a connection, a bridge between the realms that affirmed their role in the intricate tapestry of existence. Time flowed within the underworld as smoothly as the river Lethe, decades slipping by under their patient gaze. Despite the inexorable march of time, their rule remained unshaken, a fixed point in a universe of changeability. The souls that arrived found a place where time held little sway, where hope and solace were dispensed with care. Hades, ever fair and just, awarded these gifts with a measured hand, ensuring that peace and security resided in every corner of his dark kingdom. Together, Hades and Persephone sat upon their eternal thrones, their presence a beacon of hope and stability. They nurtured this corner of the cosmos where life and death met in a harmonious embrace. The ever-burning torch flames beside them symbolized an enduring warmth, a light against shadows, representing their tireless duty and love. Under their guidance, the underworld thrived, its stillness speaking of serenity, a harbor of safety for all who ventured within its depths. As the narrative of their reign wove into the broader tapestry of myth and legend, the beginning of their story echoed into eternity. From Hades' emergence as Lord of the Underworld, embracing his duties with solemn dignity, to Persephone's transformational role in rebalancing life and death, their journey told of a partnership that endured beyond time. Their legacy was not merely of power, but of a shared wisdom that brought order to chaos, light to darkness, and hope to the hopeless. In this legacy, the origins of their tale found relevance, a timeless circle drawn complete. The story of Hades and Persephone, far from a tale of mere abduction and captivity, had unfolded as one of balanced harmony and mutual fulfillment. It reflected the eternal dance through which life and death, shadow and light, intertwined seamlessly, the essence of a cosmos thoughtfully ordered by divine hands. Thus, the throne stood, a testament to their eternal collaboration, a nucleus of stability and assurance. With Persephone at his side, Hades embraced his role not just as a ruler of shadows, but as a guardian of souls, a purveyor of justice wrapped in gentility. Together, their impact rippled through realms, offering a profound message of peace and balance that would echo for eons to come.